How much of an island can you fit in your kitchen? It is probably the most asked question I get in all of my consultations. Look at the island, look at the kitchen. Do I have enough room? How big can I go? The pictures I'm seeing on Instagram, on Pinterest, everywhere, enormous. Double islands, 7-foot wide islands, 15-foot long islands. You have to think about working and living in a space like that. So let's talk about what the standards are, the minimum standards. And when we talk about standards, we're talking about a D, code, the bare minimum. And then I want to explain how I think about the clearances, how much room I need for my family, and then you can figure it out for yours. Industry standards are perfectly displayed right here. Back in the 20s, these lovely women studied how to make a kitchen more efficient because back then, countertop heights weren't standardized. Nothing was standardized. And they wanted to help farmers basically be able to cook and process food quicker so they can get back to work in the fields. So they developed these standards, and they are to be the most efficient, the shortest amount of steps from one place to another. So first one is 36 inches to pass. Now you'll see right here I have a dummy panel. This cabinet opens this way. So it pulls out this way. So this one doesn't open. So if this were my hallway, I need 36 inches to clear. Over here, I've got drawers pulling out on one side. I don't have cabinets on this side. However, on this side of the island, I do have cabinets. Hello, I'm over here. On both sides that pull out. So when you have cabinets or appliances that are opening into a space, you want to have a minimum of 42 inches. 48 is nicer. 54 I did over there. I think I've got about 56 over here between the fridge and the island and the stove and the island. So National Kitchen and Bath says you should have 42 to 48 inches between spaces where things are going to pull out into. Because when I pull this full extension drawer all the way out, look how far I am from the countertop. I still need room behind me for someone to pass. The other really important clearance that you want to think about is when you have seating at the island. So if this stool is pulled out and someone's sitting here, I want to be able to clear behind it, to walk behind it. So they recommend about 5 feet, 60 inches behind stools so that you can clear and pass. Now, those are the standards. Like I said, they're a D. You pass, okay, your kitchen works. But if you want your kitchen to be custom, and you're spending a ton of money, any kitchen you do is custom. So it should work for you. In my renovation, I kind of threw those out the window. And you can see that because we've got over 5 feet between a dummy panel and the wall. And the same thing here, same thing here. Eventually, I'm going to do some piece of furniture here when I get to it. When it comes to designing my own kitchen, I want to think about my people, how we move in this space, how we operate in the kitchen. So despite my best efforts to have everyone go this way, they're going to cut through the shortest path. They're going to leave the dishwasher open. They're going to pull the trash out and leave it right in the walkway. I know this. You know how your family behaves, so design accordingly. So I have left more room. Back here, you want to think about the big three, the fridge, the stove, and the sink, because those are high traffic areas. So over here, where typically National Kitchen and Bath would say 48 inches is sufficient, I know the indecisive one will stand here for hours and try and decide, I want to be able to pass behind. The stove is slightly off center. The kitchen is not symmetrical. We're going to live. We're going to survive. But what it does for me is the oven is slightly off center. So even though I've got about 56 inches here, I've got even more room to back up because there's no island behind me. Standards are great. They give us a starting point to figure out if it's going to work, if we physically can fit behind. But when you design your own kitchen, even if you're getting stock cabinets off the shelf from Home Depot, it is a custom kitchen because you're designing it. So it should fit the way you live, and it should fit the way your family behaves. How tall are you? If you design an island that is 7 by 7, you cannot reach the middle to clean it. When you design an island, you have to think about who you are, what your reach is. Can I get in the middle and clean it? Is it too big for a single slab? Am I going to have a seam? You want to consider who you are, what size you are, and how you like to work when you design how big the island is. Also think about who's in the kitchen with you. If I'm in the kitchen by myself, I don't have any issues with traffic flow, with people coming behind me, getting in my way. But I just had a client meeting and they have 8 children, 8, in the kitchen at the same time, working. So their traffic patterns are going to be different than mine. They're going to be different than yours. When you've considered who you are, who the people are in the kitchen with you, you can improve the clearances by the way you lay out the cabinets in your island as well. So for instance, over here I have one cabinet that pulls out back here so I can use stuff for the stove and the fridge, and over here. This cabinet pulls out this way, over here. So this is a dummy cabinet and it's opposite the stove. So really no one will ever be standing here and pulling anything out. So that gives me a little extra room and a little extra confidence that nobody's going to be pulling something out behind me when I'm opening. If you're not sure how your traffic patterns are going to work yet, take your plans and draw on it and imagine how you're going to move through the space, how your family's going to enter and leave, how you're going to go from the stove to the sink, to the fridge, to the countertops. Draw all of that on your plans like a Pac-Man and see if it's going to work. See where the pinch points are. See where it's going to be tight, where you need to watch out for corners or places where drawers are going to pull out on both sides that are going to be high traffic areas. Last up, when it comes to the island, make sure you got enough room for seating. So 18 to 24 inches per butt is about a good standard. If you plan on using your island to eat at on a regular basis, 24 to 30 inches is a little bit nicer. Like here, I've got 3 feet, but we have a corner, so these legs and those legs are gonna meet somewhere. So we've got a little bit of extra room here. I also didn't want to have a leg or any brackets. We had that in our last island, and I got a lot of bruises on my knees. I wanted to leave it clear here. So we've got 3 feet here, 4.5 there. Those stools, when we get them, will have over 2 feet each. And again, 3 feet less what they're borrowing from the corner for seating width. When you've left yourself enough room this way, you want to leave yourself enough room for your leg room. So 12 inches is a nice overhang. Sometimes we have to do less if we can. Sometimes doing more for tall people is nice. It's also nice to keep little kids' feet from scuffing the backside of the island. However, at about 14 inches, your stone fabricator is going to want some kind of support for the ground, for the countertop. I've got 14 with the cabinet underneath for support because I didn't want brackets or posts to bash my knees like in my old island. And that should be fine, so long as nobody dances on the island. What I'd love for you to do is to look at your plans and to think about, do those numbers work for you? Because somebody put them on the page doesn't mean they're right for you. Check them against how it feels. Get a tape measure. Get boxes if you need to visually feel how the space works. Lay it out with tape on the floor so that you can understand and decide. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.